My name is Matros. I'm the Global Battlefield Community Manager at DICE.
And my name is Gustav Enekull. I'm Marketing Manager at DICE.
So at Tokyo Game Show, we're showing the single-player footage called Operation Guillotine. You actually get to play it hands-on on the show floor.
What's the aim with Operation Guillotine? What are you looking to highlight with their Battlefield that you can show the public?
First of all, it's our amazing single-player campaign, which stretches through the region of the Middle East and New York and Paris. It's a very atmospherical single-player, and that's what we're showing on the show floor.
So the single player hasn't really been in the limelight since E3, was it, when you showed the tanks and stuff? What's the reason to bring it back now at this late stage?
This is really the first time actually we're giving people hands-on with a single player. So we're very excited to be here at Tokyo Game Show and show off this mission and see, not just press reaction to it, but actually the players on the show floor. I think, we've had a pretty good campaign so far, I think, and the reason we're saving it to the very last is that we've chosen to show off multiplayer, which is of course still the pinnacle of what Battlefield is all about, and then our brand new co-op campaign so far. So it's probably evidence to there being quite a lot of content in this game.
Are you excited to see the kind of the response when the doors are open to the public tomorrow in Japan?
Yes, I'm very excited. Unfortunately, we're flying back tomorrow, but we'll get some amazing updates from the Japanese EA team. But yeah, even if the public hasn't been here, it was mostly business and industry people. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing 2 days here at Tokyo Game Show.
We've had over an hour line already at these 2 business days of the show, which is quite impressive, and if you walk around the show you realize that's quite a lot. So we are very happy and almost a little surprised to see the Japanese audience really embracing Battlefield and being excited about it, and for us coming from DICE, this is really one of the biggest rewards when we develop the game, to see how people react to it.
Like you just said that the Japanese market, it's a totally different market to the Western market, who love their shooters. How do you market a game like Battlefield 3 for the Japanese consumer?
I think first of all it's important to make sure that the game is fully localized, which we are together with EA Japan. So it's being localized both in terms of subtitles and the spoken language in the game. So that's probably a key component to making sure it appeals. But then I think the offering in itself and the sheer amount of things there is in the game with the multiplayer, single player and co-op, I think that's fascinating a lot of people. And what I'm hearing also is that there is a increased acceptability or acceptance for Western games in the Japanese market.
Do you think the market's changing over here then, that they're starting to get more in with the whole Japanese games are starting to come over to the West, that the Western games are starting to leak over into Japan, and the fever that they get in the kind of the Western market? Do you think that's going to start to spill into the Japanese market?
I think, just judging basically from the reaction to Battlefield 3 and some of the buzz we're hearing here, that the Japanese market is becoming more receptive to Western games, but it's based on a very limited sample, and it's not scientific in any way, but that's definitely the feeling that you get being here.
So one of the criticisms at Gamescom was that maybe the console version didn't, obviously it's never going to look as good as the PC, but maybe it didn't even look as good as Bad Company 2. How do you kind of react to that, and is it a concern for the team?
So I think we got mostly very positive feedback from Gamescom. We showed the game on PC and we showed the co-op gameplay behind closed doors in our press lounge. I think it's natural that the game is not finished several months before it's out, and that there are some things that needs to be ironed out. But in general, we were quite happy with the reception at Gamescom as well, I must say.
Obviously, one of the big things with Battlefield 3 is the Frostbite engine, the new destructibility, the fact that you can use buildings to take down other guys. How does that factor into multiplayer, and what do you expect that to do for the kind of landscape of the game?
Well, what we saw in Bad Company 2 with the destruction we had was that on some maps it just became too unbalanced. You could flatten the terrain, and the defenders or the attackers didn't really get a chance to hide behind cover. So what we're doing with Battlefield 3 this time around is that we have set objects that don't really destroy as much as the other ones, but you can still take down building facades, you can still chip away on objects. You can still destroy buildings, so the destructibility is there, and it's impressive. It's on an unprecedented scale in BF3.
So there's more micro destruction this time around, the fact that you can bring down bits of a building and crush soldiers. I mean, how hard was that to implement and balance as well?
Well, it took some time to develop it, and well, thanks to our amazing development team at DICE, they've done an awesome job with this engine. They pulled it off, so it's possible to do it. We can do pretty much anything with a Frostbite 2 engine. It's that amazing.
In the end, I think it's all about making the destruction tactical for you to. It's not just for visual effects, it's really changing the way you play the game, and it's especially important in the multiplayer. So there's really nowhere to hide, and even if you think you're safe behind your cover, you can have pieces of it chipped away in front of your eyes, and you're a vulnerable target. And the same thing, you know, with buildings where you can take out entire walls and so on. So I think that's a key part and a key component to destruction, and why we're building it both on the micro and the macro level, that it's gameplay changing.
You talk about the tactical element. Obviously, Battlefield is gunning for the Modern Warfare market. The Modern Warfare seems to be your kind of just your run and gun, your arcade shooter. When you're bringing this tactical kind of gameplay to the market, how do you kind of tap in to the Modern Warfare lot who like the arcade style?
Yeah, well, Battlefield has always been a Battlefield game. We have our special formula when we make Battlefield games, and if we wouldn't make Battlefield 3, then what else game would we make? I mean, we're making Battlefield. So what we decided to do with Battlefield 3 is that we want to keep the tactical gameplay from Battlefield 2, since it's a spiritual successor. We want to keep that element of gameplay in Battlefield 3 and yet still make it more innovative. So we're definitely focused on our own formula, the rock, paper, scissors formula. You can always counter the enemy with something. And that has stuck with us throughout the years, and that's what's in Battlefield 3 as well.
Yeah, so just to add to that, I think Battlefield has always had its key pillars with vehicle warfare, and you play together as a team, and you also have the destruction that adds to that. So we're building our own game, and that's what we're focusing on doing, delivering the best Battlefield game we can possibly do. But one thing we realized though is that we're hopefully going to bring in some new players to Battlefield who are not maybe used to playing as a team, or might feel intimidated by vehicles, you know, how to drive them or how to counter them. So we're making this also our most accessible Battlefield yet, with game modes like team deathmatch, and you know, you can play games with no vehicles and so on. So it's really, you know, a core Battlefield game with features that appeal to the core, whilst we're making it accessible at the same time.
To add to that, we say play like you want, and it's very much play like you want. So it's just as Gustav says, if you don't want to play with vehicles, you jump into Team Deathmatch. If you want more objective-based gameplay, you jump into Conquest or Rush. That has brought Battlefield forward quite a lot. So whether you're from any other shooter, any other FPS game, you will enjoy the run and gun, you will enjoy the vehicles, the huge maps and everything.
How important is that launch window that you seem to be out before the Modern Warfares, the Halos that come out 2 weeks later?
I think you know, this is the first time we're going for an autumn release, and it's of course very exciting. It's a very exciting autumn overall for gamers. So, you know, I think I don't know exactly what the gap between us and other games will bring, but in general, it's a high season for gaming, and a lot of people are taking interest in the releases happening now, and hopefully they will be interested in Battlefield 3 too.
With Battlefield launching in about 6 weeks' time, is it realistic that even if you release the beta tomorrow, that you could actually get anything into the game for launch?
Yes, we made sure that we set September for the beta, and we also have time to focus on fixing stuff or adjusting the game the way the community wants as well, through valuable feedback and that kind of stuff. So there is definitely time for that. There's definitely time for patches after the game has been released as well, because we're going to support this game as much as we can.
I assume the beta response will be a day one patch. It won't be ready to go gold, will it?
I think, if I can comment on that, I think, you know, Battlefield, the beta we're doing is testing the online setup, and there are a lot of tweaks we can do, even if they do not go into the Gold Master disc, that we can do on the back end side of things to make sure that the user experience when the game launches is as good as it can. So that's why we're doing both the alpha trial that we had previously that was closed, and then the open beta, and letting this amount of players storm onto our back end and see what it does, and in case anything needs fixing, there's definitely time for that.
You had quite a tricky launch with Bad Company 2, didn't you? Server-wise, there was a few issues when it launched. Are you hoping that with Battlefield 3 that you are, especially with the good pre-order numbers, that you're ready for the amount of numbers that are going to buy into the franchise?
Definitely, yeah. So I mean, the beta that you just asked about and the previous alpha testing, that's definitely part of making sure as much as we possibly can before the game launches that we have tried the game out. Everything is set up like it should. We have had a very large number of players that have been on our servers and playing it, so that's definitely one part of it. Another part is having a dedicated team at DICE who's really keen to supporting the game from launch and onwards. So I wouldn't say the launch is the end of our work. It's almost where it begins, and we're gonna support this game for a long time, and we're doing everything we can to make sure the launch is gonna be as great as possible.
We've done several multiplayer launches throughout the years, and we have a lot of accumulated knowledge in the teams at DICE. So as Gustav said, we have a very dedicated launch team getting ready to launch the game, making sure that the user experience is nothing short than awesome.
Okay, and last question. Seeing as we're in Japan, the home of karaoke, if Battlefield 3 was a karaoke song, what would it be?
What would it be?
One each.
Maybe I hope it will be big in Japan. Seeing the interest here at Tokyo Game Show, at the show floor, I hope it's big in Japan. That's the theme song for this game.
Is that a song? Who sings that?
That's Alphabet.
Yeah,
Is it
it's
really?
Alpha. Pretty decent, I think.
Okay, and yourself?
Wow. Let me think for a second.
Okay.
I would say this. I would say Roxette, Dressed for Success.
Oh, nice. I like it. It's good. I'll give you that one. That's good.
It's so special.
For success.